Full week this week. We had the snow day on Friday, so didn't have any classes you had to meet in. Full week this week. But next week we got a holiday on Monday, so we've only got a short week next week. And they're talking about possibility of another snow occurrence sometime in that week. Maybe it could be on our day off. I don't know. We'll see if we end up having any more snow next week or not. But guaranteed Monday off. So next week, this class will meet on Wednesday instead of Monday, since we have the holiday. The Martin Luther King Day next week. So little peek ahead there, guys. This is a B Day Friday, so we will not be meeting on Friday. We'll only meet on Wednesday this week. And since we're in our first 2 weeks, we will meet today and Wednesday, and I'll find something fun for us to look at or something on Wednesday. We'll do something, because we're going to cover our lesson today, so that you have that and can go ahead and get the assignment done when you are ready to, whenever you like there. And after that, we'll do something different on Wednesday. But yeah, full week this week that we'll meet every day. Next week, holiday on Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. Big day. There's a lot going on. It's Martin Luther King Day, so federal offices closed, a big holiday, no school. New president. That's inauguration day. So that's when President Trump will be sworn in office. And it's the football national championship day. They're just like racking up that day when everyone's off. I guess there's lots of good stuff to do. But January 20th is always when the new president's sworn in. So it's not like they plan to do it. Hey, let's do it on Martin Luther King. No, it's always January 20th is when the new president is sworn in each time. So that date's just set in stone. So we don't have to worry about that moving. But let's go ahead and take a look at this week's lesson. All right, let's go to our grade screen as usual. So last week I haven't got my checklist done. Shame on me. I will get that done. But we have 4.01 due this week, IDS basics. Now that was just a practice test, remember last week. So it was a little quiz. I had a couple questions on there for you guys. And it doesn't count if you totally bombed it. That's okay, because we're going to learn the stuff now. So that was just something to get you warmed up, kind of get you ready for this week's lessons. So let's go to 4.01 IDS basics. Intrusion detection systems, IDS. So what do you think of when you hear the term intrusion detection system? You might envision sirens, flashing emergency lights, alerting a network administrator security breach. Whoop, whoop, whoop. In reality, it's really not as dramatic as that. And it's only in the movies that happens, right? An intrusion detection system, or IDS, is software or hardware that's used to monitor network traffic and alert administrator to a possible intruder. So we're going to check out this video here to see how an IDS alerts admins to possible security breaches.
Across the web, there are people who want to do harm. They're using the latest technology to infiltrate your data and steal your company's valuable resources. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to learn how an intrusion detection system, or IDS, can protect your company from digital attacks. An intrusion detection system is a device or software application that monitors a network for malicious activity or policy violations. Any intrusion activity is reported to an administrator with an alert. An IDS can be used for a single computer or for large networks. Unlike firewalls that detect and prevent malware, IDSs simply provide alerts. They do not actually stop suspicious activity. Cybersecurity professionals rely on intrusion detection systems. Much of their monitoring and alerting data comes from the IDS. When an alert is received, it's time for action. The system administrator acts on alerts to secure the system, preventing unauthorized people or actions before they happen. None of this would be possible without the use of an intrusion detection system. An IDS is a valuable tool in the mission to protect and fortify an organization's data security plan. Mission complete.
All right, there you go. The little Mission Impossible type theme there, intrusion detection system. Very good. Let's go to page 2. IDS purpose and operations. An IDS can analyze and monitor network traffic or signs for anomalies. Let's get the definition of anomaly here. That's an action or an object that deviates from what is the standard, from what's normal, from what you expect to see. It's like you look at it and you go, something's off there, right? So that's what an IDS analyzes and looks for. That indicate attackers are using a known cyber threat to penetrate or steal sensitive information from a system. An IDS compares the current network traffic to the known threat database. So there's a database out there that it keeps to detect violations, malware, and port scanners. And say, oh, it's like having a list of bad people, right? I got a list of criminals, and I'm checking your IDs. You come into my store, and oh wait, you're one of these shoplifters that's on my list. So it's checking this threat database. Same type of thing. Checking for something that knows is malware or some problem. So the primary purpose of an IDS is to detect intrusions and log suspicious events and then send alerts. So once an intrusion is detected, the system notifies a person in authority, whatever it's programmed to do, right? It's programmed somehow. That person, usually an administrator, reviews the results and determines what actions are needed. Right. So a person will actually determine what to do. This just alerts you that something's happening, but it doesn't make the decision on, am I blocking them or what am I doing? Snort is one of the most widely used intrusion detective systems. What a great name, huh? Snort. It actually entered the Open Source Hall of Fame as one of the greatest pieces of open source software of all time. Now, do you know what open source means? Open source means I have not copyrighted this. Anyone is free to copy and use this as you see fit. So open source just means I know I wrote this, but I'm not going to claim ownership and make you pay me every time you use it. I haven't filed a copyright. It's not trademarked. This is for everybody. So open source is pretty cool. So because it is open source and freely available, it is a popular choice to detect emerging threats. Snort can be used on most Unix or Linux operating systems and Windows. So several different systems it can be used on. So just a point about that, you're thinking, why would someone do open source? If they got something that's so great, you can make a lot of money selling that, right? Well, sometimes, and it depends on the person, if the person has that spirit, it's like, this is such a great, useful thing to stop cyber attackers that if I charge for it, if I sell it, a lot of people won't buy it because, inherently we're cheap. And sometimes you just don't have the money for it. But I think it's so important that people use this to stop cyber attackers. I'm not going to copyright it. I'm going to put that there for everyone to use because it's that important. Because I want to stop cyber attackers. Kind of like I was reading an article, I thought it was interesting. Elon Musk, with all of his Tesla and other things he's done with his satellite links, his space company, most of that he's not copyrighted, and he said that intentionally. I haven't copyrighted. He said the only thing that I've copyrighted a few things that they had trouble with people, malicious intent type stuff. So they went ahead and copyrighted a few of the processes they do just to keep bad actors from doing things. But most of it is not, because if you think about it, if he wants electric cars to really catch on, if they trademark and get a patent on like their charger and everything, nobody else can build their charger. People have to build a different charger. But if I don't copyright that, then other people can go ahead and build my exact same charger, and that benefits me as well. It helps the whole industry grow, which will sell more cars for me. So it's really a very smart business move in that sense, that I don't patent everything, because some things I want people to go ahead and steal and do it themselves. Because if you build more chargers that my cars can charge on, I'll sell more cars. So thought that was an interesting business move by Elon Musk to do that. I saw that and it kind of surprised me when I saw it because that's not the norm, right? We don't generally just leave things for other people to copy automatically because it happens bad enough as it is. So, all right, let's go to page 3. IDS components. So an IDS has 3 main logical components. They're there: sensors, analyzers, and the user interface. So let's take a look at how all these work together. So a sensor. The sensor is responsible for collecting the data. Obviously, it's what's going to go out and check, right? And see, it's going to pull in what's happening. It receives input from any part of a system that could contain evidence of intrusion. Whatever it needs to check in your system, it should have access to that. Types of input include like network packets. You know, when computers communicate, remember it sends these packets first. We talked about packet sniffers and all kind of stuff first semester. Could be log files of activity that's happened on the network, and system call traces. And it collects and forwards all this information to analyzer. So that part is not really checking anything. It's just pulling the data and sending it to the analyzer. The analyzer is going to take a look at it and check it out. That sensor is just gathering. It just goes out and gathers everything. The analyzer receives input from one or more sensors. It could be multiple sensors as part of your network. It could be sensors for each different component of your network. Or it could get information from other analyzers. You may have more than one analyzer going on, sending data back and forth. And it is responsible for determining, has an intrusion occurred? Is there something unusual? Is there an anomaly? Something that doesn't look quite right. And it may provide guidance about what actions to take as a result of the intrusion. It may, when it sends it to the user, to the admin, it may recommend an action. Oh, I've noticed this type of activity. Generally, that is a result of this, and probably should be blocked. Probably should be booted from the network or something. It may or may not include that, but it's up to the user to actually take the action. It enables the user to view the output from the system, or Control V. Oh, they didn't finish their sentence. Enables the user to view output from the system, or Control V. The something may be controlled by a manager, a director, or a console component. So some variables on who the user may be that does this, but it's 3 different parts: sensor, analyzer, user interface. All right, page 4, IDS requirements. So a DDoS attacker, remember that's one of those people that's denial service attack on your network using multiple computers. The 2Ds, it's a whole bunch of computers attacking your system. A DDoS attack or other large-scale intrusion attempts can be very damaging and very costly. Like here, for example, there's a 2019 cyber attack, cost the city of Atlanta $2.7 million. The city of Atlanta had its network attacked. All of the city functions, the city network, $2.7 million. Could have been stopped if a stronger IDS had been in place. The intrusion detection system typically sends major issue alerts using email or priority text messages. So these types of real-time notifications eliminate the need for someone to sit and stare at monitors and network log all day. Because a person just sitting there and looking at all the network data coming in may miss a lot, right? So the intrusion detection system is a lot better at catching something that's unusual before a person would. And I guess they didn't have that in place in Atlanta. So here is some key requirements for an IDS. Run independently. It should be running by itself all the time. It shouldn't have a person that has to turn it on, turn it off, or tell it to check here, or tell it to check there. It should run by itself for it to be truly effective. It must run continually with minimal supervision. You just need to check on it occasionally, make sure it's still running, make sure it hadn't got a bug or something and quit. Just make sure it runs all the time. It must be able to recover from system crashes and reinitializations. So if your whole network crashes, it should automatically reboot. And when it reboots, it should automatically launch the intrusion detection system. It shouldn't be waiting on some person to come restart that. Once the system is reinitialized, maybe the whole system has to be shut down and restarted for whatever reason you're doing. The intrusion detection system should automatically restart by itself. Because if someone forgets about it and it goes for days without running, you may get broken and have a big problem. It must be self-monitoring and able to detect if it's been modified by an attacker. Right? You don't want an attacker to get into your intrusion detection system, start turning things off. It should be a smart enough system to know if it's been tampered with. Monitors itself to make sure its own code is not being changed. It must have minimal dependence on the system where it's running. Because if the system runs into the problem, it could shut this down. So it should run minimally dependent on that. They have its own system. It must be affected as little as possible as some of its components stop working, right? Because there could be some part of it that glitches. And hopefully it doesn't crash the whole thing. Just that component. So must be affected as little as possible. Flexibility can scale to monitor several hosts. So it can just small network, large network, should be able to make it larger or smaller. Can be configured to the security policies of the system being monitored, right? Because each network has their own security policies set by the admins and the IT people. And the IDS should be flexible to handle those policies. Is able to adapt to changes in the system and user behavior over time, right? Because things change in your network, needs change in your computer system. And it should be adaptable to accommodate those needs. Includes dynamic reconfiguration or the ability to be reconfigured without having to be restarted, right? Should be able to change things without having to shut it down. Do we have to shut the IDS down to make these changes? During that time it's shut down, could be the critical moment. So hopefully you can just reconfigure parts of it and it continues running all the time. So important things about an IDS there. Did you know not all intrusion systems are 100% secure, which is true about everything, right? All antivirus is not 100% going to stop you from every virus. All anti-malware is not 100% going to stop all because there's always new stuff being created. In 2020, suspected Russian government hackers, because the governments have hackers trying to hack into each other. North Korea's got a bunch of people that do that. Suspected Russian government hackers gained access to U.S. government agencies, critical infrastructure entities, private sector organizations that were using the network monitoring software known as SolarWinds Orion. That's the problem, because if you can go out and buy an IDS, so can the hackers, and they'll try to take it apart and figure out how to get around it. And apparently, these Russian hackers figured out SolarWinds Orion how to get around some things, and so they were able to hit anyone using it. Malicious code injected into Orion between March and June of 2020 allowed hackers, believed to be with the Russian Intelligence Service, or APT-29, to compromise Microsoft and FireEye, as well as the Department of Defense, State, Treasury, Homeland Security, and Commerce. Always have to be on your guard. Always got to have those updates. All right, page 5. Knowledge check. All right, let's see how we do here. We just went through all this lesson. Match the terms to their correct descriptions. All right. I got the chat open. Which ones can we match up? Let's see. Let's start with this right here. Software or hardware that monitors network traffic and alerts to a possible intruder. What does that match up with on the screen? Software or hardware that monitors network traffic and alerts to a possible intruder. Take a guess. So this is the definition for some other word on the screen. Software or hardware that monitors network traffic and alerts to a possible intruder. Well, that should be our IDS, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it disappeared, so that was right. Let's make a little picture behind there as we release parts of it. Let's see. How about something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected? Something that deviates from what we expect it to be is called what?
Anomalies.
Anomalies. Gotta be. Sensors, analyzers, and the user interface. Sensors, analyzers, and the user interface.
Analyzers.
Let's see, are those analyzers? Oh, not quite. That should be our three components, right? Because we looked at sensors, which send data to the analyzers, which sends to the user. Let's see, is that the three? That is the three logical components. Let's see. What determines if a security breach has taken place?
Sensors.
Let's see. Does the sensors determine that? Nope, they don't determine that. Oh, I think the sensors collect the data, right? That goes out and gathers up everything.
Yeah.
And then it sends it to determine if security breach taken place. That's your analyzers.
Yeah.
The user interface allows the administrator to view the logs. Okay, there it is. Great job. Intrusion detection systems. All right, last page just says, do your assignment. Okay, so let's go look at our questions real quick. Should just be, 5 questions about what we just talked about. The purpose of an intrusion detection system. What's the user interface used for? What must it be able to do? Who does an intrusion system typically notify? What logical component provides guidance about a possible intrusion? So, okay. Well, there we go. There's our intrusion detection system lesson. A pretty important part of your network there. Something that's automatically, kind of like AI, if you want to think of it that way, because it's an artificial intelligence that's checking everything on the network and looking for something odd, which then they'll send on to an analyzer that goes, yep, something's odd. And then a user will be notified. Probably a little email pop up. It said it could even do a text message. So that would be cool. Your IT guy gets a text message from the computer going, hey, you need to check this out. Something odd's going on. So pretty cool stuff. All right, guys. We're pretty much done for the day. I'm gonna let you out. I'm gonna try to find something fun for Wednesday, because we'll have class again on Wednesday. But that's it this week, because it is a B day on Friday. So, all right, guys, have a great week. We'll catch you on Wednesday.